Okay, guys. Well, I was mowed quite a bit yesterday. You'll see that you probably saw that video. Mowed about 7 or 8 acres today. I was going to mow total of probably close to, I might have mowed maybe 10. I was going to mow close to 20, like 18, something like that maybe. Got the one little field done. I was working on the bigger field, and Discbine saw some sparks and got some trouble with the Discbine. So I'll show you what's going on so far. So I haven't figured out what's broken yet, but this is the cutter bar. So this is my 872/20 9-foot 2-inch cut Discbine. So you can see here, if I turn this turtle right here, turn the third one, all the turtles move except for the first one. So it is either it's not good, just the amount of time that it's going to take me to get it fixed. Like, it's not like a terrible job. I'm sure they have parts in stock, whatever it is, I'm sure. It's, so I'm thinking it's one of two things. So they actually call these underneath here, underneath your hub right here is your Shock Pro hub, and then right underneath the Shock Pro hub, what the whole thing sits on, they actually call that a top hat. So on my other Discbine, I had a top hat go bad one time. And on this Discbine, I actually had the spline, I believe it was the spline between the first and second one that went bad before. So there's a gear that comes out of the bottom of this that runs, this one spins a gear in your top hat, then the bottom of the top hat has a spline that comes out and goes across to connect it to this one. Each one's connected by a spline. So if you look right here, this bolt right here holds that section of the cutter bar. So the cutter bar actually comes apart in where those are. You can see right here, you can just barely see that line. So that piece inside there comes out. So I think it was like two years ago, 3 years ago. I don't know if I had the 986 or not. Had the spline go on this same Discbine between the first and second, I think. And that's the job I was telling you about when I was working on the rig. That's the job that took me like quite a while to get it out. And then we went and got parts and then spent the next day, putting it back in. It's not a huge job, I mean, if you got the tools. The hardest part is you have to take the cutter bar out of the machine. So you have to loosen the big bolts back there and actually drop the cutter bar on both sides. And then, which taking it out is not a huge deal, putting it back in is. That's the hard part. But first I have to take this apart. I have to take the top part apart anyway, the turtle, take the shaft out, get that all apart, and make sure that the top hat's okay. And I didn't see anything that hit, so I don't mean that this knife was sparking. One of these knives was sparking, so I'm kind of thinking it might have been the top hat and that was letting it wobble up and down. But I can't remember if the top hat broke, if that would stop it from spinning the next one or not. So in the spline, if it's a spline, they actually give you a whole new, I think they call it a core. They give you a whole new one because you can't get the spline out. And then they give you one and then they take yours and send it back. So we are going to find a place to park the camera and start digging into it. I have luckily I did not take all my tools out of the side-by-side. I was going to do that and I didn't, so luckily I didn't. So I have everything in there in the side-by-side from working on the wheel shim or wheel wedge or whatever you want to call it. So hopefully some cordless impact wrenches and the 3/4 inch socket set will make some quick time with this. We'll get this top part of it. I'm going to have to take the top part off anyway. I mean, to get to the spline you have to. So hopefully it's the top, just because it would be a little bit easier because I wouldn't have to drop the cutter bar down. But we'll see. Cutter bar is one thing that I probably can't put back in by myself. Lining up the bolts was a little tricky. That's one that Rachel helped me last time I did it. Lining up the bolts was not easy to do. So we'll see if we can get the camera set somewhere. See if we can, oh, that was good. Dumped them all out. Closed the wrong side. Dumped all my other stuff out of my camera bag. So we'll see if we can get this set up on a block or something. Oh, maybe you'll find it interesting, maybe you won't. Maybe it'll help somebody, maybe it won't. I'm going to take the words of Nate Bissell and film stuff. And we will move it up a little higher and tilt it down maybe. All right. Hard to see what you can see, but it's way back here. Gotta take that all off. Get the camera too close and I'll be knocking it over. Oh. Alright, first thing I gotta do is take off the top of the hub. I actually grabbed a couple cardboard boxes so I had something to lay on a little bit. Let's see if I can. I don't have a shop. Last time I did it right out in the hayfield that was already baled. Wasn't too bad, but it's a little, a little stubble. So right now we're in a little tiny yard right beside the beef barn. So I don't know if that's gonna, definitely not ideal, but better than most. Just a little cardboard in case I, it's a little bit softer. Not much softer, but a little bit softer, and no, oh, that's cool. This box fell right apart. A little bit softer, and get the bolts or whatever from being in the grass anyway. So we'll see if we can get this done here. Yeah. Does not like to hold on to the wrenches. Pretty sure that This one is not gonna, pretty sure you can't use the impact on any of it. But we'll see. Nice thing about it is all these under here are 3/4 inch bolts. So everything is the same. At least that's kind of nice. So once you get under here once, I should say, right? Now you have to get something to stop it with. So normally, if you wanted to stop it, you would put something in the other side, and that would stop the whole cutter bar from turning, so you could break the bolts loose. But because they're not, whatever's broke, you can't do that trick. That doesn't work. So you gotta put something in here to just stop this side. Usually a big wrench or piece of pipe or something works. So we're just gonna use a big wrench. All the rest of them, except for the end ones, you can use a impact on. So it just kind of sucks that you have to keep moving your bolt. I'm just gonna sit right in here. See if I can just do it this way. They're not real long bolts, just takes a, it's definitely the hard way to do it. This one you gotta get the shaft. They give you just enough room. I think you have to have the shaft turned just the right way in order to get down through here. The PTO shaft runs the first one, and then they're each connected by the splines underneath. So let's see. Put that in there. The thing I don't like about this camera is it's got the lock screen. I can't really find any place. This tripod is different. Maybe it'll sit like that. A little balancing act here. Let that just sit somewhere, man. Good Lord. So we got 4 bolts right here, and you can't put the impact in there. So you gotta put a wrench in there and stop it from turning and take them out one by one. And most of the time they just barely, this one just barely won't turn by hand. So, they got a little bit of Loctite on them from the factory. Makes them so they don't quite turn good by hand. 4 bolts. I burned my finger, the knife was so hot. So I'll get 2 and then maybe we can turn it, get the other one. Other 2. Hard part with a long socket like that is can't get the leverage to get the first part. Yeah, this one's going to come out by hand, so that's good. Until it hits the Loctite. They only put just a little bit of it on there, pretty much on one side. Must have a machine they go through and it squirts it on the one side. Same thing with the ones that do the Shock Pros. Alright, give her a little turn maybe. It's got to turn this way. Put this back in. Maybe. Doesn't go in as good this way. you go. That's set in there. So, get this off and start. This is the worst one to work on because it's got the PTO shaft. It gets right in the, it just barely, I mean, it's a tight fit to get that PTO shaft back on there. I'm pretty sure I had this hub go bad last year. Pretty sure. I didn't see a rock or anything. I don't know, just internally exploded or imploded or whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure. It's hot. I know. I don't remember when I broke the spline last couple years ago. I don't think it got hot. I'm pretty sure it got hot that time on the other Discbine when the top hat went bad. I'm pretty sure that was hot. So maybe that's the case. Either way, it's almost the same job. Almost. I'd really like to not have to take the cutter bar out, but like I said, even worse is putting it back in. I don't have any help, you know, without Rachel. I mean, she would have been here because today, hey, Rachel, you line up them holes for me. I think I was jacking it up with a jack, and she lined up the holes and got the bolt in there. Of course, there's 2 bolts. I think it was the second one that was the hard one. Got to be level with each other. So that's loose like that. And then you got to try to get the shaft. This is the hard part. The shaft slides inside itself just enough. And I think you got to turn it just right to get that out of there. Remember if there's see, now I got it stuck. Shaft comes down off the top part, and you got to get it to, this might take me a while, you got to get it to knuckle just right in order to do it. You can see it moving. It's got 2 knuckles, and you got to use both of them kind of. A knuckle one way and the other, and the top one doesn't want to cooperate. See there, it's almost off. Like that, get it to knuckle. Both of them. And then you got just enough room. Maybe. Wake up on it. This is the hard part. So I got it started. I don't know if you can see it or not, but the bottom of it, you know, they could have made just a little bit more of a relief. Wouldn't hurt too bad. Can't. Got both of them working, but can't get the top one to. As it comes down, you gotta, I don't know if you turn it. Oh, yeah. Can't get the top to come down. Gotta take this. I guess that's the problem. Yeah, this is out of place. Top of this. I got this whole thing off center. I think I'd have it if it would line back up. Almost got it, but can't. That's a hard one. So then you got the shaft weighs right on there. You can't Oh man. It'd be nice they would have made it so it had just a like a little relief cut into it. It's the bottom just barely fits up in there. I can't tell what I got to do. I got both knuckles working. The top one. Won't quite slide off of there. I don't think it gets any better. Just spinning around a little bit, just trying to look at it. I got it jammed on this one side. Doesn't want to. Does not want to come up out of there. Can't remember. Maybe you got to pick it. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe you got to pick the whole thing up and then put it down. See, it won't quite clear. Oh man, I don't know. I can't remember how to do it. All these holes must be you gotta have it. Is this one bigger? Is that the problem? Maybe that one's bigger. Oh man, I can't do both. For some reason, I don't know why one of these holes is bigger or something. I can't tell. Ouch. Pinch my finger. This is off the center, and then I can't get it to go back up on there. I can't remember the last time I did it. I know it's a pain in the butt to put back on, but I don't realize it this hard to take off. Like that. And then get this back to the center, dude. Like that. I was thinking one of these notches was bigger. This one here looks bigger. I can't tell what the deal is. Until I want this thing back where it's supposed to be and just start over. Unless you pick this up. The problem is they should have made it so they had the same size hole in the bottom. I mean, why didn't they do that? All this is like a guard, you know, so why it has a big hole up here? Why didn't they make it so it had the same size hole on the bottom? So then you could just slide it up right now and you can take the shaft down through the middle. I don't know why I'm sure they had a reason, but it certainly comes off there a lot harder than it should. So we got everything loosened. This knuckle will not clear the side. I can't remember how I did it, whether you got to pick up on the whole thing. I can put this back up on there. This knuckle right here. See, now it's hitting the bottom. I just can't remember how how to do it. Doesn't want to come off the top straight, for one thing. We'll just put the top down. I can't remember. I don't know how to. Just can't remember, dude. I don't think it matters whether the Discbine's up or down either. So the whole thing moves together. And got it locked up right now. Need this part to go up, and there's just no room. I just can't remember. All right, guys, we got that out of there. You have to get the collar just right, and then get the bottom. You have to get the bottom of the collar up, so then you can pick the ring up around the whole thing, and then they come out together. So we got that. I like that one zerk on that. Could be changed. I think it'd be a good idea to change them both while it's out, actually. So now we're going to take this turtle off and see if we can tell whether it's the top or the bottom that the problem is. So we'll be right back just a second here. Grab the wrenches. Well, maybe I didn't have my socket, but I got it. So these Shock Pro hubs are all torqued on there. So they're 135 foot-pounds of torque on them. So this could be a little interesting because I'm not sure I can stop that from turning. Maybe I can use my impact to hold it. Get this to. I guess I can take the turtle off. The turtle can come off. So that doesn't sound too good. See, I can hear it. So I think it might just be this top part. So now, you gotta bust this loose somehow. How are we gonna do that? Put it back on, put the turtle on. You gotta take the top of these bolts right here. I think that's what the problem is. It sounds like it. The gear in there on each side. Well, top gear fits down into two on the bottom. It's definitely doesn't sound good. So, how do I get that Shock Pro, of course, to How do I get that off? Need something to... if I put the turtle back on... This maybe that's... I need something to hold it with. To get that bolt broke loose. So if I put the turtle back on... Maybe I can get something to hold it with. Of course, I can't see nothing. Can't tell which way it's got to go. Looks like this one's going to line up, but maybe not. That's fake. Maybe that's a groove, not a hole. Got grooves cut into it and holes. Hard to tell what's what. So, if I put that on there like that, maybe I can get my... Maybe I could do it like that. Not the right idea. Just need to get my wrench to stay in there. 135 pounds of torque, and this one's the one that there's like no room in. There is the least amount of room on this one, you know. Crawled right in here, up against everything. You don't want it to break loose. Go flying into something. I don't need any cuts or bruises. Just dry the pipe. There we go. And these bolts have just a little bit of Loctite on them. The way they come from the factory. Just enough to be a pain. And this is like a spring washer. I don't know if you can see good or not, but it's like a spring washer. It's like made, we call it concave or convex or whatever. So when you tighten it down, it springs on itself. Then this is a spline washer with teeth. That fits down in there. Hold everything down on the spline. That's what we call a turtle. And then this is your Shock Pro hub, which has, this one is not a breakaway hub. This is your first one. It's not a breakaway hub. So this one has a full spline. So in order for the dealio to be not, number one, not to turn into number two, it's either the top hat gear is gone or the shaft coming from the top hat to the next one is gone. So it's one of the two. So we are going to take a look at the top hat, which is everything up here is 3/4 inch bolts, which is kind of nice because nothing worse than getting under here and having different size bolts. Here comes the rain. Fell a couple sprinkles, so that's what I was afraid of. Get this all started and it's going to pour. Chance of looks a little That's some goo on them. That gasket sealer, I guess. Got a piece of hay wrapped around there. No wire though. I don't see anything other than hay. That washer off of there for you. So they have a little bit of gasket stuff on them. And then need something to pry that bad boy out of there. Definitely has oil. So, and the top hat. So if we look at that, it looks like it's fine. Don't see any nicks in it or nothing. It definitely has oil. So we are looking at the bearing looks good right there. This gear right here. That looks good. So we're looking at a spline. That's what I was afraid of. Yeah. Then you gotta wonder, oh, did I do it? Do it wrong when I put it back in the last time or not, you know? I don't think so. Has the right amount of oil in it, I think. Enough in it to work, that's for sure. So then this in there. Not good. Not good at all. So what I'm wondering is, can you take one side out only? Can you, or do you have to do both? And can you jack this up with some blocks and not have to worry about, can I just lower the jack down and then have it go right back up to where it's supposed to be? You know, that'd be hopeful. Hopeful, both of them. Definitely has oil in it. So, you know, here's the thing. So it broke, right? The spline broke. So the nice thing about it is, yeah, it sucks it broke. But the nice thing about your New Holland is it only broke one, right? They're designed to break, you know, whatever. Whereas used to be, you know, you could take out, they have these splines in between them so that it only broke this spline. Whereas used to be, you could have took out the whole cutter bar with whatever, you know, and I didn't even hit anything. So, I mean, it could have had, you know, wobble issues or whatever you want to call it before, but, I mean, it has oil. It has oil in there. It's not bone dry. And the only thing that, I mean, there really isn't anything that, whatever reason, that failed. The shaft will be seized right in this side, and it will be broken or whatever. I can't remember how you get it out of the other one. Maybe it doesn't. It won't come out of one of them. I don't think. Can't remember if it won't come out the first one or second one. But I can't remember if you got to take both of these apart or just one. But that is one thing about it. I mean, it could have been the whole cutter bar versus being one spline. So you have to drop it down with those two bolts and then take these out, and those are what hold it tight. And it's starting to rain. So, I'd really like to have it cleaned off a little bit. But I'm not going to sit here and get soaked either. Cold rain, boy. Holy moly. Cold rain. I'd like to know what size bolts they are. I'm going to put the top down, but they just don't go up high enough. So, we'll stop the video there and we'll pick back up with it, I guess. I'm definitely not going to sit here and get poured on. Okay guys, we just had like a pop-up shower and we're back. I'm trying to bust these bolts loose. I don't know what you can see, but we're trying to bust the bolts loose right here between the first and second to get that first section loose. And holy crap, are they in there, right? 1/8 nut. Was that 3/4 inch? Is that a 3/4 inch bolt? I think so. So I got one broke loose, and I'm trying to get the other one broke loose, which is even more of a pain because it's back here underneath everything. Can't get my, don't really want to use an extension at all, but I help turn them. Hello? Alright guys, we're back. So I'm just trying to bust loose these bolts that hold between the two sections here, between number one. If you can see that bolt right there and bolt right there. I got the first one broke loose. I'm trying to get the second one broke loose. And you can't even get the, I don't remember this last time, but I remember it being hard to get into places. So couldn't get my ratchet in there without the extension because it doesn't clear right here. I'm pretty sure I got to bust these loose before I take the cutter bar out. But on this one over here, there's just no room, you know. Curtains in the way, guards in the way. Everything's in the way. I can't remember how I did this one. I can't even get my socket to stay on there. Oh, I don't remember. I'd like it to be. Just won't. Maybe you gotta take that off and stick it up through there. I don't know. Stays on much better without the extension, but can't. Right there. Maybe. If the curtain came off easier, I'd be taking the curtain off, I can tell you that. I just don't want to, oh, it sucks to do this one. I just don't want it to slip, you know. I hit the thing already, because I'm hitting right here. You can't get a bolt or a wrench on the other side. I just can't remember how I did it. I used the, maybe I did it from back. Maybe I did it. I can do that one from behind. I don't like the extension because you can't tell if it's slipping or not. You gotta get it down. I don't know if there's nothing. Yeah, we'll try this maybe. Take it off. I don't know if that's enough room or not. Probably not. I don't know. I can't remember how to do this one. Maybe I kind of thinking I might have used my feet. I don't know. Definitely not a fun one. There we go, I guess. Got to go. Maybe that's broken. I don't think it should turn quite that easy. We'll take it for now. I don't know if it's... I can't tell if it's turning or not. You know, the bolt. That was definitely not as tight as it should have been. But anyway, it's coming off. Can't tell. I think just this. It's like a threaded rod is what it is. Too big. And now that I remember, I don't think I even took the other side off. I think you just slide this whole thing right off of these. It's got just where it won't, just enough crud on it that it won't come off by hand. This one here's still pretty tight, I think. Yeah, not too bad. See, now that one's turning. So I don't even know if you can get a wrench on that thing or not. I don't remember how I did that. Don't seem to want to go on there, but maybe, oh. I can't see my hammer. Ow. Maybe that'll... Oh, it's got grass and all kinds of crap on it. There, holding it now. So it's kind of whichever side comes off first. Hopefully it's this one over here. But they're kind of like threaded out. They're not threaded all the way, just threaded on the ends. But they're supposed to be torqued. Pretty heavy, I don't know. Maybe it came loose, I guess. Get this done, then we gotta figure out how to get the other two on that are holding it to the frame, and then get them out, and then gotta drop it down so that this will come out. It won't slide out because it's in the frame. The frame's holding it together too, just like a big piece of a puzzle. The frame's holding it in there. Alright, got that one by hand. Alright, we got that. So So the bolt will slide, but it won't come out, you know. You can slide it this way. But it won't come out because it hits this side. So you gotta take the whole thing out. Pretty sure I have one of them at home. So we'll see if we can get this box wrench on the back one, which is they're just all crud from grass. Can't quite tell how it even has to be to line up. There, it's on. The grass crud out of the way. Nice if it would stay right there, wouldn't it? Well, we'll just grab the impact and zip that off there. So it's a job, but I'm real thankful. Like I said the other day when I was working on that wheel shim, I'm so glad that Rachel talked me into buying that big socket set. Because man, you could get a lot of leverage on that with a piece of pipe and whatnot. It's just a job smart one from Tractor Supply, but you know, somebody one time was like, oh, I don't buy nothing but Craftsman. Well, look what that got you now. There ain't even, I guess you can get some of them at Lowe's or whatever, but I have quite a few Husky. Home Depot has warranties too, and Home Depot is a heck of a lot closer. I like Home Depot better than Lowe's. Oh, spun that one out, both sides. Well, that was kind of interesting. Washer stayed on, so that one's actually going to come out. But the back part, you see this thing on the other side has a long one that goes back in there. So you have to take the cutter bar out of the frame in order to do it. So that is one. Just put a nut on there. So now I got the big ones, and they're even worse as far as loosening. I think I can do this one. One of them was already loose. That one's already loose. And they just go through the frame, and they're basically like Caterpillar. They're basically like big pins with bolts with nuts on them. So I mean, they don't necessarily have to be. I mean, they don't want them to come out of there, but I think they have I think it's actually a lock nut, but I'm not sure. Oh, I mean, I've checked them before. I know I have. And it's right underneath this guard on this side, so it's kind of a pain. This will be the easy one. The other one, not so easy. We are way ahead of, so far, it's going pretty good. I think it's just going to come off on one side. I'm not sure if it's it's a bolt head. And then it's got on this side where the nut is, it's got a grease fitting to grease that joint. And got it almost all the way off. We're just gonna stop. We'll go just a little bit farther. And we'll stop. Alright, we got that about off of there. We moved it 3/4 of an inch or so. The other one is, the back one's loose too. Maybe I was already on that one. I guess I already did. Yeah, that's the one I can't get the doohickeys on. I have to use the, let's see. I don't think I can get the socket on the other way. Maybe I can. Oh, look at that. Son of a gun. Can't get. Gotta get 2 on there, and I can only get, well, maybe I can get, oh, there we go. That must be, well, that's lucky. Impact had just enough clearance. Alright, so we better get this jacked up. And of course, it's always a problem with the, you know, if I gotta jack it up. Tomorrow's July 4th, so I don't know. I don't think we have. Oh, that Caterpillar come right back, didn't he? I don't think I have enough time to get parts tonight, and tomorrow's July 4th. They're probably open till noon, so I think we'll be all right. But try to get this jack to sit relatively. I'd like to do is just jack it up somewhere and just put. I can't remember how I did it before. I'd like to jack it up and have it sit on blocks so I don't have to worry about it dropping down, but I can't even remember where because you got to put this piece up in there. I guess you can't do that. I guess you have to. I got to drop the cutter bar down anyway. So, I'm going to jack up on the cutter bar to get the bolts out. And then you have to lower it down. To take it apart. If I remember, like the other side's like a hinge. I remember, I think. I'll check it here real quick, but I think the other side's like a hinge. It's made to drop down on this side and then slide out. So just get the, like that. These are, that one's tight again. There's another Caterpillar. Alright. So this one is the one that's tight. Which figure, you know, one of them's going to have all the weight. And let's see if I can reach over and jack it up just a little bit more. See if that, I don't know if it makes any difference or not, but I can't remember. Hopefully it doesn't fall on me. I don't think, I can't remember how hard it was to, or should I put a block under the whole thing? I'd like to have it up underneath there. Get this on there and get this one out anyway. I know one of them's going to be hard to come out and one of them's going to be hard to go in. I know that. I think I want to jack it up differently. I think I'm going to try to put the block underneath this. That ear right there. Well, lots of pieces already, you know. Try to keep them all where they would be underneath the curtain. Keep track of the bolts a little bit. These are longer than the other. So we got, it's loose, but figure out this jack part. What do you think? Maybe I should try to let the block underneath the ear and drive up on that better. Oh, it gets old walking around this thing, I can tell you that. It's never... What I'm going to try to do is put this block right under that ear. Maybe I'll do it this way. Stand it up, maybe. Wonder, you know, you think that's why it's farming, fixing, fabricating? Spend an awful lot of time maintaining, not necessarily fix. I mean, this is fixing, but I mean, you know, stuff breaks. You know, you mow. You know, I mean, I mow a couple hundred acres a year, 300 probably. You know, stuff breaks. It's a lot of ground. The problem is, you know, people don't want to admit it, but it's a lot of it's not good ground. You know, ground that hasn't been plowed in a while, ground that's full of ruts and whatnot, and you know, diversion ditches and you name it. So, I mean, they're not, you know, you wonder, you know, it's a 9-foot Discbine, you know, I'm sure they make them all high quality, you know, all the same quality, but it's not exactly, most people would choose to mow 300 acres a year with, I'm sure. But it's not, you know, it could be worse. It's made to break where it broke instead of breaking more. So, I mean, it could be, it's a bit, I can't remember how the other side comes out. Something like that. I feel like it's going to fall. Which is not a huge deal. But I do not want it to fall and get where I can't get it back on the jack to pick it back up. I don't want to have to manhandle it back up there. I mean, it can lower the Discbine down. I get that, but I don't remember last time whether I lowered it down to do this part or not. Maybe I did. Maybe I did. I don't know. This one's turning. Tools on the wrong side again. Impact's way over there. I just don't want to have to mess with it too much, but If I remember right, this side has like a pivot point. Maybe not. Maybe it's in there the same way. But I think I only took down one side. I just can't quite remember. I just don't want to have to manhandle it back up on the jack to get it to cooperate. But I mean, we can lower the Discbine down to put it back together. I don't know why you'd lower it down now when you're trying to do this crap. I think that's bolts. I thought this one was loose. That one is definitely loose. Then the stupid guard is in the way. So this Discbine has a guard on here. And that thing, I think, was wrong when I got it. It's missing bolts when I got it, and it's just not. You can't even grease this one fitting right. It's a guard for the belt. I'm going to take that off in order to get my bolt out. So, let's see if the front one will move. For some reason, all the weight's on the front one. Maybe I put the jack underneath the shoe. But the shoe... Does the shoe have to come off? Yeah. Can't remember taking that off, but I guess maybe you do. Take the shoe off to put on the other piece, right? I think they're not going to give me a shoe. Guess what? 3/4. I think I do remember taking the shoe off in the front. The shoe doesn't want to come off. Shoe doesn't want to come off. I get this bolt out if I had the guard off. Another one. I'm guessing. You know, that's the hard part when you jack it up. You can't tell. You know, you're a little high, a little low. In order to line it up right. Impact doesn't want to take that shoe off, that's for sure. So, now what? Gotta get that guard out of the way. And I got this Discbine. God, bump my head. That guard didn't have bolts in it. If somebody didn't put the bolts in, or they fell out, or whatever, I don't know. But kind of a pain because it doesn't go up in there. I don't think it goes up in how it's supposed to. And I can't remember. It's probably 1/2 inch. 3 trips around the Discbine will have the right wrench. Oh, I actually got it. Half inch. Got it right the first time. Oh my goodness. Guard just protects the bottom of the belt. More or less it's just straight in the way right now. Imagine that. Lost a washer, found a washer. Lost a washer, found a washer. Lost a washer, maybe. Maybe there was 2. Got the lock washers anyway. Alright, so now, see if I can get that fun stuff. That bolt out of there. That'd be one. Like I said, I know it's going to be hard to get one. One of them's going to be easy, and one's going to be hard. It's just the way it is. You got 2 of them, and all the weight is on one. So, see if that's up there. And you would think you'd get it to pivot just right and you could pull it right out. You know, it's about like hooking up a 3-point link or something. You know, you gotta, well, I would say the one that goes on the tractor if you're trying to, you gotta get it lined up just right in order for it to get the weight off of it. If you jack up too much, jack it up too much, then you put pressure back on it. I can't tell if it's even doing anything. The back is, I don't know if it's better to, trying to figure out a better place to put the jack. I don't think the jack has enough to do by itself. I'm just using the floor jack, which is not necessarily the best choice, but it will get down out of the way, you know. hanging out, napping.
You talking to Bud?
Well, I think that's probably the best place to jack it up. I don't know if it's going to loosen the pin up, but huh. How are we going to get that out of there? How are we going to get that out of there? Pepsi got warm in a hurry. I do not remember having a hard time getting the bolts out. I remember having a hard time getting the bolts back in. I do not remember having a hard time getting them out. Can't tell, I just can't tell where the weight is, Seems like it's going pretty easy. If I could get it jacked up perfect, tension, whatever you want to call it, then I'd be able to just pull it out with my fingers. There we go. Got her. I just need to. Oh, I see. It's got a little burr in it. Alright, so that is that, ladies and gentlemen. And now, if I drop this down, we're going to drop the camera and everything else, right? So we're going to rearrange here a little bit. Get this. I don't really want to be under there, just in case it falls forward. I cannot remember. I don't think I took the other side off. I don't think so. So, we'll see. Got the camera still going. Alright, so we're just going to slowly, hopefully, or somebody lost my jack candle a while ago. Was in the back of the truck when they took a load to the dump and somebody just threw it right in. So we're going to try to get this done, lowered down. I can't remember what else there's got to come apart. Somebody texted me. Baler twine has arrived. Hoping to bail tomorrow. So, do I want to put, I think I'm going to put a couple blocks under there. Just so it can only go down so far. I don't need it to go down all the way down the ground. And if anything, the block will catch it. And maybe it won't, I don't want it to fall forward. I'd like to, might get out of range of the mic here. Never throw pieces of 6x6, 2x6, 2x8, 2x4s, 4x4s away. I always use them. So if I just put a couple blocks under here, and then I can catch it and, you know, keep it from going down too far. That's the idea. We'll just put this, we'll reach all the way underneath there. And a little one. I think that'd probably be good. It's leaning a little bit, but I'd like to. Oh, something under it just to. Nice to have it. So set just a little better. Maybe we could turn it this way a little bit. Pieces, 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 right? I mean, I'll let it drop down. That'd be, if it drops down that far, about 3 inches, then that'll be plenty. I can't remember if there's got to be something else done, or that just comes right out of there. Or if you have to take the other one apart too. But that's the one step that I didn't do last time. I was going to move the block. I got the jack right underneath the shoe. I'm guessing I'm going to have to take the shoe off. So if I get this one right underneath the shoe, then it's going to drop down about 2 inches maybe. Well, if that's not far enough, I'll jack it back up. And this is one thing I didn't do last time. I didn't do that. I just lowered it down. I did not need it to hit the ground. So let's see if this works. It's not like tons of weight. Down she comes. Oh, look at that. Right on the shoe. Isn't that something? Now, what else is holding that in there? The shoe, right? The shoe's right there. These are bolts there, yep. So I do have to take the shoe off. Or this. Yeah, I think the shoe comes off too, but I gotta take this off. So I gotta take this front piece off. That's holding it together, actually. And then I think I gotta take the shoe off because it's not part of the kit. So I'm actually doing pretty good here, time-wise. I just want to get it apart so somebody can go for parts first thing in the morning. Maybe that ain't the right size. There we go. Seemed like it spun a little bit. I'll get that off there, then I think it'll come apart. So everything kind of holds everything else on. Oh, it's gonna be a little heavy. Got this whole thing's coming right off. Why is the whole? Oh, must be on vibrating it. I was wondering why the whole thing was moving. Must be on just was vibrating it. I gotta take the shoe off, and then we got her. So this whole thing right here is all, somehow that, gotta get the bolt out of there. So I gotta take this one back. See, that comes off of there, like that. It's one side. And that right there is what's the problem. So does it come apart without the shoe? I think it does. There we go. Oh, it's just a little heavy. A lot heavier than they look. Well, it doesn't look, I don't know. What the heck is the problem? This shaft looks good there, fellas. What the heck? The second one's a problem. That's perfect. That's fine. What? It just shake loose. Oh my goodness. You gotta be kidding me. So the last one, the shaft was like stuck in there. And it didn't come off. Caterpillar. So that is not the problem. I don't think. The top works up. Unless it was just loose. So the other side. Might have been. Maybe it was just loose. Huh. Chances of getting that back in there. Well, that is not what I expected, unless it's the second one the problem. Can't really believe that. It doesn't look like it was loose. It's a little noisy, but I don't think it's... Can you get the shaft in there now? That spindle is not the problem, unless it's the other one. Could be the second one. And these are like the in-between are dry. There's no oil in the middle. Oh, that's good. Long reach back in there. Probably wasn't a good idea to take that off. I can't quite see. That's in there. I'm just wondering if it was spread apart too far. That'd be stupid, but nothing was broke though. The last time one of these bolts holding the two together, the one bolt was broke, and then that caused the shaft to be loose and mess it up. So I don't. Wow. Where the heck's that go? It's just a little heavy, a little hard to deal with under here. For me, anyway. I don't know what the problem is if it's not that. It's a gearbox. And that turns. And everything pointed to this first one not working. PTO shaft's good. Oh. I don't know. I'll get this back up there to check it. And this is all, I mean, that's doing what it's supposed to do. The shaft. I mean, that, if anything, it could be the very, very end of it, maybe. Maybe that's a problem. Yeah, I guess that is the problem. So it must be not as bad as the last one, though. So this piece here must be fine. So if you look at that shaft, the very end of the shaft is messed up. Very end of it. So it must have been just like, must have been a good spot for it to do it, because just barely, let's see if you can see this. So just barely the end of the shaft, about 1/4 inch, is smushed over. Now, the other side's fine. So, I'm wondering if I didn't get 2 shafts last time. That makes it a lot easier to fix, because I don't have to get that other piece. So I mean, I put it back together. Lining up the bolts is going to be the hard part. But that's what it is. Trying to figure out if I can check it. So I mean, it goes in there, but the problem is it's not, which maybe that inside there is bad. Oh yeah, so it must have just barely started going bad. Just barely. So I mean, if it goes in there far enough, it works. It's kind of weird. So I don't know if I put it back together, if I could get it. I mean, both were tight. So I'm wondering if it just flexed. I don't know. Just flexed just enough to, because I was turning. It flexed just enough that it popped that. I mean, those bolts were definitely tight. So I guess I got to take the whole thing. The end of that, if it fit in there tight, it would be fine. But it's, I don't know if you'd get it in there like that or not. So I'll take that and I'll take the shoe off. I'm going to take the whole thing, get somebody to parts run tomorrow. I think they're probably open till noon. There's some oil coming out of there. There's a bolt for that. There's the ones that didn't want to come loose. Oh, stupid curtain. That one. There we go. Get the shoe off. Where'd that come from? What was that? Now we're leaking oil out of somewhere. That piece there doesn't look like it's some kind of like plastic. I don't know where that came from. It's like a little, it's rusted. Does that go back in there? Yeah, must be goes on the, it's like a stopper. Must be goes in there. So, is that just the top? Is this the bottom? Just barely. Must have flexed just enough that it messed up the end on the turn. You could probably put it back together and it would probably still work. But since we have it out, you might as well replace it. Alright. It's not too big of a deal. Hard work is done. Look at all the nuts and bolts here. I think that plastic looking thing is like a stopper. Stops the shaft. It's like a bump stop for the shaft. Just fell out when I flipped it over. Alright, so I'm looking for, which was I looking for? I was looking for the nut. Just making sure I got all the pieces. I was looking for the nut. Oh, nut that goes on this. It's always a good idea to make sure you have everything, especially before you go to the place that has them all. This parts store. Like, there it is, right there. Put that on there. Alright, so we got those two, got those, got the stuff for the shaft. This bolt here. This one here's got this other nut and washer. Go there. I'm just gonna leave all this stuff under here. The shoe. Both of its bolts. Alright. Just in case it rains, I like to put everything under the Discbine. Alright. Still recording? Yeah. Still recording. Remote might have stopped, huh? Alright. Well, put this under there. Grab my knife. Time is it? Somewhere I picked up a fair amount of oil. Came out of that box there. So now I'm looking for a rag. Looking for a rag. So, I'll show you here what we got. Get my hands cleaned off a little bit. Oh, must be the battery on my remote for my camera must have died. No big deal. It is, what is it, 4 o'clock? 4:30. So, we can't make it to get parts tonight, but get parts tomorrow. Alright, so we'll turn you around here. Take control, I guess. Alright, so this is what the problem is. The shaft, this is a spline shaft or whatever. You can see right there on the end, about a 1/4 inch is bad. Now it works if it's in there all the way. So what I think might happen is that the cutter bar flexed just a little bit. So it goes in there like this. You put the bad end in. This is the side it goes in. It works, right? But the inside of this, I believe, is the same way. So once we got it apart, we'll just send it back. You know, that's no big deal. So we're, you know, if it would probably run if I put it on there and I got everything super tight. But I think what happened was it flexed when I turned, and flexed just enough that that's what happened. I mean, that, why else would you have it splined that far, right? So while we got it out, we're gonna just replace it. Then we'll take this back. They'll give us a core exchange for that, and then I have the other one at the shop over home. We'll get that replaced too. So we might actually end up getting out of the deal free, because these babies are here about, I think they're $250, $300, something like that. So we'll take the other one that we have back too, and then we might actually, but whatever. I don't give a crap about that. So the only thing I see is the cutter bar might have slid forward a little bit on me, but hopefully we get parts first thing in the morning and get it put back together. But tomorrow we're gonna try to bale hay, so it might just sit right here for tomorrow. Important thing is to get the parts, and you can't put it back together if you don't get the parts. All right, so we'll be back. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part 2 of Discbine repairs. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to the video. Stay tuned for more from Triple D Farms, Triple D Maple, and Triple D Cabins. Have a great day.